the architecture of mental creation to step into the world of your invisible power is to enter a realm where thought is not a passive murmur, but the very foundation upon which reality is built. Genevieve Behrend's work rests upon several pillars concepts that, when fully grasped, shift one's perception of life from a series of random events to a deliberate, responsive creation. These are not abstract theories, but living truths, as tangible as the air we breathe once we learn to recognize their presence. At the heart of Behrend's teaching is the principle that the mind is a creative force. This is not a poetic metaphor, but a functional truth as concrete as the law of gravity. Just as a sculptor shapes clay or a painter brings form to a blank canvas, so too does thought shape experience. The world does not happen to us. It happens through us, filtered and molded by the quality of our mental vibrations. Every belief, every assumption, every silent expectation is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious. And from these seeds grow the circumstances of our lives. The question is not whether this process is real, it is always in motion, but whether we are directing it consciously or allowing it to unfold by default. Closely tied to this is the idea of the law of attraction, though Behrend's interpretation transcends the modern, often oversimplified versions of this concept. She does not suggest that mere wishing summons desires like a genie from a lamp. Instead, she presents attraction as a natural law, as impartial as magnetism. Like frequencies, resonate with one another. Thoughts infused with emotion emit a vibrational signature, and the universe in its infinite intelligence responds in kind. Fear attracts its own manifestations just as surely as faith attracts its fulfillments. The key lies not in forcing outcomes, but in aligning one's mental and emotional state with the reality one wishes to inhabit. Another cornerstone is the power of mental imagery. Behrend emphasizes that the subconscious mind does not distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and physical ones. This is why athletes visualize success before a competition, why inventors see their creations before they exist, and why trauma can linger in the body long after an event has passed. The images we hold in our minds are blueprints, and the subconscious works tirelessly to bring them into form. To change one's life, then, is not merely to affirm new beliefs, but to cultivate new inner pictures, to dwell in the mental reality of the desired state until it becomes the only logical outer reality. Yet none of this is possible without faith, not as blind belief, but as knowing. Behrend distinguishes between the faith that hopes and the faith that knows, the latter being an unshakable certainty that what is conceived in the mind must manifest in due time. This is not a passive waiting, but an active trust, a refusal to entertain contradictions. Doubt, she argues, is the only true obstacle. It is the static that disrupts the clear signal between intention and manifestation. To wield one's invisible power, then, is to cultivate a mind that does not vacillate, that does not plead with the universe, but declares into it, as one speaking a word into fertile silence. Finally, there is the principle of divine cooperation, understanding that we are not alone in this creative process. Behrend speaks of an infinite intelligence, a conscious, responsive force that partners with our thoughts to bring them into form. This is not a distant deity, but an ever-present creative medium, like a river that carries our intentions to their destination if we learn to flow with it rather than struggle against it. Our role is not to micromanage the how, but to hold the vision steadfastly, to act when inspired, and to trust that the intelligence that orchestrates galaxies also orchestrates the details of our lives. These themes are not isolated. They interweave like threads in a tapestry, each supporting and reinforcing the others. To grasp one is to begin to grasp them all, for they are different facets of the same truth, that we are creators, that the invisible is always shaping the visible, and that freedom lies not in changing the world but in changing the mind that perceives it.